Yeah, they are lighter. I really do like them. Do you have one of those ones or no?
No, when I come on, we had the 1010s.
Oh, okay.
1044s or whatever they were.
No, that's definitely my favorite helmet I've had. So
I had them. We wore them when we were like when I was a kid. I remember having them or whatever. But actually, I was just telling the boys at work the other day. Me and Blake and Craig were some of the first ones in the province to have traditional helmets. Like we my grandfather went out and got them for us. Traditional, like with the Borks on them, and everybody thought we were crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Yeah, do you have a leather one now, though, don't you?
I do, yeah. I wear leather at home and at work, yeah.
And so if I mess up your introduction or anything, just let me know. So.
Oh, man, all good.
Yeah, so today we have Brandon Luke here today. He's probably been a professional firefighter longer than I've been doing it for sure.
Oh,
you started when you were a kid, is that correct?
Yeah. So. I hang around the station when I was just old enough to walk around, I guess.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. And you were saying that your grandfather started the old volunteer station in Hoyt, is that correct?
Yeah, my great-grandfather, he when he came home from the war, he started working at the base fire department for D&D.
That's pretty cool.
And so out home, there was, when D&D took over what we know as the Army ground now in New Brunswick, he actually lived in Hibernia, so he was expropriated, so they moved to Hoyt, and there was no fire department there or anything, so they called a meeting in a guy's barn, and started up a fire department. And they actually started, we were talking earlier about the junior fire department. They started the junior fire department then as well.
Okay.
So my grandfather would have been 11. So
so he started when he was a kid too.
He got on right away, started going, and back then, even right into like the 70s and 80s, the junior fire department went on the calls and everything. They went to the calls. They
just threw them right into it.
Yep, 100%.
Is that what they did with you guys when you were going through it too? Or
it was kind of the end of that, but I was fortunate enough that it was the end of it, so we kind of got to tag along to some stuff that
that's pretty cool.
We were lucky.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been doing it since 2013, so you've definitely got a longer stint than I did. Doing it your whole life. So
like I always say that experience is different everywhere, different for everyone, different. You know what I mean? Like you started in 2013, but you started in City St. John, so you know what I mean. Like you've got a lot of experience there too.
Yeah.
So
I understand that too, but but another thing is I'm really like impressed with your group of guys that came in, and so you do a lot of training with. What was the training?
It's Fire Training Associates.
Okay.
Yeah,
I knew I was going to mess that up.
No, you know what? We were kind of we started as a smaller company, and it's been building and growing and stuff. And I've been away from the boys this year a little bit. I just had my son was born in January, so they've been running the roads a bit. And but they've been busy this year. They're getting they're traveling around Nova Scotia and PEI. We've been to Ontario, so. Yeah, we're very fortunate to have had that, and that that was something that is another legacy thing, right? Like it was my grandfather and my uncle that kind of got it going, and
passing that knowledge on to other firefighters along New Brunswick, which I really like about you personally, because you've helped train a lot of firefighters in New Brunswick and helped further the fire service and make it become better. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
it's rewarding for sure. It's it's always. It makes you feel better when you can give as much as you can. It's all about the service, right? Yeah.
And that's what I kind of like about even notice with your generation, that you guys are more hands-on with the stuff and a lot more knowledgeable. I don't know if it's because of the internet or just you guys' passion, but I kind of noticed like you and Greg and Price, all them guys, how much passion you guys really put into the fire service, and it doesn't go unnoticed. Just put it that way. I know you can probably get the negative side of things, but I see it, and I think it's an awesome thing that you guys do. You go around and train volunteer fire departments and help them become better. So you started as a kid in the fire service, and kind of what this podcast is more about is ADHD in the fire service. And another reason is that I really wanted you on here is because I think you're the only other guy that's really open about ADHD and then having these issues. And that's kind of something we're going to discuss today is, the strengths and weaknesses and, what you've gone through in your life having ADHD, and maybe share a couple things myself. So
yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you, because I think this is something, like we've talked before, this is something that needs to be talked about, and it's not something that is openly talked about enough. You know what I mean?
No, it's not at all. Yeah. And for me, I notice a lot of guys, even that I work with, that have it, and they're in denial with it. And I'm telling them, hey man, you got ADHD, you should go get checked out. And missing out, you could be a lot better than what you are, because
Yeah.
as you know, there's a lot of ups and downs to it, and a lot of
Yeah.
disadvantages and advantages to have an ADHD.
And you can take advantage of both sides of it once, you start that education process.
Yeah, 100%. And the more you know about yourself, the better you're going to be in life.
Absolutely.
That's kind of how I look at things. So
yeah.
So when did you first realize you had ADHD?
So it's an interesting thing. Like growing up, it's almost like you know something's off, like, but you don't know something's off because it's the only thing you know. You know what I mean? Just seems like people get mad at you for this thing or that thing. You don't pay attention, whatever. So it's like something was always off, but I was never tested, and then it was almost like it was a joke when I was a teenager. Like. Mom would ask me to go do something, and I'd, walk out the door, dog be sitting there, just like the cat come in, I'm petting the dog, whatever. And it was a joke, like, oh my God, the ADHD, right? And it's, so then, of course, as time went on, it was the more I learned, which was not a lot because I wasn't looking at it. It was, it was kind of a joke, but it was probably true. And the more time went on, and then probably when I was 29 or 30, I had, in an unofficial capacity, a therapist through another person that was like, listen, like, there's ADHD there, and you know what, like, it'd be worth being medicated. It's at least worth talking, like, and actually put me on to Beyond ADHD New Brunswick.
Okay,
which is kind of how I got diagnosed. So,
and then is that a kind of an online thing?
It is, yeah, okay, yeah. And then they were excellent to work with. There was kind of a no foolishness. They, you type it out and you talk with them for a while. They send you some questionnaires, and that's where the education piece for me started.
Yeah,
was the questionnaires. It's like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is associated with ADHD. Yeah,
I couldn't have even put that into words before I would have read that in a questionnaire. Like,
100%.
Yeah,
and then like even with me, like I tested as a child for ADHD, and they gave me the whole Ritalin pills, and I didn't really like how it made me feel, I guess, but it was just, and you probably know the first time you took the pills, it just makes you feel weird.
It does.
Like it's a different thing. It was like something that you'd never really experienced before, because your brain's always going or whatever. But so for the longest time, I stopped taking the pills and just kind of raw dogged it
for the best.
Yeah. And it does create a lot of issues with attention and hyperactivity, and school was terrible for me.
Yeah.
So, and I also believe that a lot of people with ADHD get kind of low self-esteem and take things very personal because the way we grow up, everybody's saying, hey, you got to stop doing that. Pay attention. Right. You got to, and then it's a sad thing because kids with ADHD in classrooms get a lot more attention than the actual kids that they're acting up.
It's true.
You could have a bully that's beating up kids, but you're the one getting attention because you have something, dysfunction with your brain. But,
right. Yeah. Like you said, not paying attention. You're not, not doing what you should be doing in class, not following along, whatever. You're 100% right.
Yeah. So that's kind of something what I've noticed. And it kind of goes into my next question with, school. How was school with you growing up with ADHD? And
oh, man, it was, you know what? I did good in school. If you look at my marks and stuff, I was very fortunate. I did good in school. I had a lot of good mentors in my life, a lot of people that helped me along the way. Yeah. So I was very fortunate for that. And not only that, but I went to a small school. So I had a lot of good teachers. I had a lot of people that, like would take time and spend it with me. But having mom and dad were probably the two biggest ones. Because, like they would sit at home with me for hours and do homework. Dad crushed math with me and made it into a thing that where you just understand it. It's once you unlock that, it's there, right? And he did that for me. Same with mom with, more so on the English, like the language sides, I guess I'll say, like, she helped me a lot there. But still, no matter what, it was a struggle, hard, man. Oh, I hated school. I hated going to school, and like some subjects were okay, like history. I loved history.
Oh, me too.
You know what I mean? Incredible. I couldn't wait to get there. Math class. Once Dad unlocked the door for me, I was good. I loved math. You know what I mean? It was an equation. It's never different. It's the same every time. It's easy. Not easy, but it's it's the same every time. So it becomes just a matter of figuring it out.
And that makes a lot of sense because, people with ADHD, they have very high pattern recognition. And I can see math, even though I was terrible at math. But I think even my son, he's terrible at math. But I also have dyslexia, so that probably doesn't help with the math thing. But I think if I didn't have that, I definitely think I probably would have been a little better at math. And because ADHD is very you're very good at pattern recognition.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. And it would probably a good point for me to mention in the sense of like, and this is where I find it so interesting how different it can be. But, you know, when I went through Beyond ADHD, I had a sort of an old school NP that was talking to me at the start, and you know, we had a pretty good working relationship, like, you know, back and forth. And she told me, she said, if you would have been tested when you were a kid in the 90s, you would have been diagnosed with ADD. So so that doesn't exist anymore. It's not a thing. It's just like it is, but it's ADHD. Yeah. So, but there's so many branches and so many ways it affects. And I mean, ultimately it's all neurodivergence. Yeah. No matter how you cut it up, it's the same thing. But, so it's interesting to me. And once she told me that, it was like the door was unlocked for another avenue for me. I started going down that rabbit hole, researching that and how it affects me. But it's interesting because I find like I have a cousin that we went through school together. Same thing with him, math. It was just, you know what I mean? He couldn't get on it, right? Yeah. He just couldn't nail it down. And it was, but for me, like you said, that pattern recognition, it was there for me, and just bang, bang, bang.
Just
like
clicked with it.
Yeah.
So that's, and another kind of interesting thing like I just kind of came up with. So for me, I went to school in kind of the U.S. schooling system, and actually more in the military school system. And ADHD was kind of in the 90s, so it was kind of a newer thing.
Yeah.
And they didn't really know how to teach kids with ADHD when I was going through school.
Right.
And kind of where my brain's going with this is between Canada and the U.S.
Yeah.
I find that Canadian schools are very good with this because my son has the same issues. Mm-hmm. And I find they're very on top of the new ways to teach kids, and maybe that could be a big reason why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think the other thing that we probably have over the U.S. school systems potentially would be population density.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I went to school with 20 people until I went to high school. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you know, the school was full of people, but you know, I had 20 other kids in my class, and that was it.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's pretty small. Yeah. You know, you get more one-on-one time. They have more time to spend on it. As opposed to a lot of places in the States, the population density is so different. Yeah. You know, so I think that probably
plays a role. Yeah. Like, I know for me, they kind of, like, they had these special ed classes, and they kind of threw me in there, and I was like, why am I here?
Yes.
Like, it was funny because I did the whole testing through a psychologist when I was a kid because I had all these learning disabilities, and ended up, like, I had a really high IQ, and I'm in these classes where, like, kids are, like, drilling on themselves. I'm like,
right,
what am I doing?
Yeah. But this is not the place for me.
Yeah, no, and I didn't really learn much in school, and a lot of things now I had to really go back and teach myself to do these things. But, and also another question I had is, so your parents, did any of them have ADHD, or did?
I think well, as we know, it's a genetic trait, right? It's neurodivergence is passed down. And it's funny because, you know, like, I talk to Dad, and, you know, he's just like, holy jeez, like, I tell him some of the stuff I got going on. He's just like, you know, like, whatever, like the forgetful memory. Like, you know, I can remember lots of times growing up, Mom saying to Dad, like, can you grab whatever at the store on your way home? Dad show up with nothing. You know what I mean? Not intentional. or he'd go to the store and have 6 things and not one of the things Mom asked. You know what I mean?
So for me, my mom.
Is that right?
Yeah. Makes sense.
I think it kind of, it's one of those things, like, it's we know it's a genetic trait, like, so it's and, you know, and on that point, I think, you know, looking forward, like, you know, you've been talking about your son, like, you know, my son's 5 months old, and it's funny because his mother and I joke all the time, like, we see him, he's playing with a toy, and he's trying to get the whole thing in his mouth, and he's getting so pissed off, you know, he's yelling, and it's the frustration. We're both like, oh, geez, I wonder where he gets that from. But that frustration piece, man, like, you know, you can see it in him already.
Oh, and it is, like, having a son that's ADHD, it's a lot, because, you know, as you know, as younger, a lot of it comes out as hyperactivity, and so it's a lot for him. Like, he has some problems at school too, like, you know, his teachers and stuff, but it is what it is, I guess. But I don't think it's a bad thing to have ADHD, because I think pressure builds strong people.
I agree. I agree, and I know that we're going to talk at some point about, you know, it actually has some advantages, you know.
Yes, it does.
You know, in a way, I think if you know, and we'll get to that later, I guess, you know, but I think it can be a superpower in some ways.
No, 100% it can be. So yeah, I guess we'll just go right to my next question here.
Yeah.
So did you feel different from any other kids when you were growing up?
Yeah, for sure. It was it was one of those things like we were talking earlier, like you feel different, but you can't really put it into words because it's, but other people are, listening to the whole they're engaged in a conversation. They remember, I can't even remember people's names half the time, like let alone their siblings' names or their parents' names, so it's like, and everybody, so, and that's something that carried on with me my whole life, even now, like I'm medicated and I still struggle with that. Sometimes I'm better. Yeah. But it's still, it's stuff like that, and it's the other kids catching on to stuff at school, and I'm not catching on. It's not making sense to me at all. Like things like that. It's
just like that. It's so hard to explain. There's the whole disconnect from things, and be able to pay attention for. I think a lot of it's just paying attention because I know for me, if I'm not interested in it, there's no way
gone.
Even now, whenever that being medicated, it's. Yeah, I can actually now make my brain do that.
Yeah.
As before, it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
If you be talking to me, I was off in La La Land in my head.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I always say that, and now that I'm on the meds, like I can look back and see it now. But like before, if you started a conversation with me, I heard the first 7 words you said, and that 7th word was something that sent me into a spiral, into a whole other world. Yeah. And I didn't hear any of the rest of it. You could talk to me for an hour straight. I'm stuck on the 7th word you said.
And even with me growing up writing, it was just I can't. It's like I need to fit like 7 different ideas in one little paragraph, right? And then you're reading and it's like, that makes no sense. And even now I'm trying to really, with my speech and the way I'm talking, because I can do it too when I'm talking. I try to fit so many things into one idea, and I'm trying to okay, this is my main idea. I gotta work on that, stick on that, and it's very hard because like you probably even tell the way we're both talking, we probably just like
it's just and it's you're 100% right. We'll go back and 100% I'll listen back to this and go, oh man, I wanted to talk about this, or I wanted to mention that, or but we're talking about things that I never even thought about talking about either, right? You know what I mean? So it's interesting how, like you say, you're trying to get all these things out, and then sometimes I find too, you get to a point where you're like, you almost feel like you're scrambling too much. So you just you just kind of cut it and move on, right? Yeah. Like you just kind of let it go and move on with your life and whatever.
How about like cleanliness, like being clean? Like I know I had a real problem with picking up after myself growing up because it'd just be, I'll put things down and just like, and losing things and just, where did I put that? Where did I put that? It's just because I don't really, it's like I have something, I'm like, I'm going to put it down here, but I'm not really like conscious, like I'm putting this down, but I'm not registering that I'm putting it down. And then I go look for later, like, where did I put that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
100%. And it's usually in weird spot.
I'm 32 years old, and I tell Emily, if I say I'm going to put this in a safe place, either tell me not to do that or remind me where it's at, because I'm going to forget. Like it's going to be somewhere way too safe. Yeah. It's safe for me. But 100%. Like I would say I was best at organized chaos. You know what I mean? It was right. You know what I mean? Like it's not like, of course I wasn't good at picking up after myself. I vividly remember Mom one time. I forget exactly what it was. It was like not a garbage can. Maybe it was something that, whatever. And she didn't deal with it for a long time. Like, you know what I mean? And then I remember her being like, if I didn't do this, nobody would, you guys don't even think, but it's not intentional. It's that, and I've, as time's gone on, I've learned more. It's if I don't see it, it's not a problem. So my brain just literally blocks that thing out. It's not a problem right now. It's not
until it's right in your face.
Right. Right. When it's in my way, or if it becomes a problem, then I'll deal with it.
Yeah. So probably that procrastination. Waiting until the last seconds to do something until it's urgent, and then you probably get it done quickly. But
when you go into a job interview and people say like, "Oh, I work well under pressure." Yeah. Well, man, I don't work at all unless I'm under pressure. Yeah. You know what I mean? Literally, I can't unless it's the very last second, or, like if I don't get it, it's a deadline. Like I do it tomorrow, like whatever.
And I kind of wonder if that's because like ADHD, your brain's so in so many different places. Yeah. And it's so chaotic. So when you're in chaos, it's just like, oh, this feels comfortable.
Dopamine chase. Right? You're looking for that dopamine. So it's like, I don't want to do this thing, but and I don't really care about it, so let it go to the last second. Yeah. And then when you got to prep for it, it's like you cramming, right? Yeah. And I don't know, you get kind of not a rush out of it, but you just like,
Yeah, a little dopamine.
Yeah,
Dopamine.
yeah.
I mean, that's yeah. I understand that. Like, I think a lot of people with ADHD chase that dopamine hit, and can cause a lot of issues with substance abuses too.
Yeah,
I
for
find.
sure.
And
Absolutely.
because I believe people with ADHD have low dopamine,
Mm-hmm.
so we try anything we can to get that up and
Yeah.
chase that. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I've done a lot of reading on it, and we do things subliminally. We don't even realize
Mm-hmm.
it. You know what I mean? We pick fights with our most beloved people in our
just
lives,
just
to get a rise out of it.
Yeah.
And you don't mean to do that. If you sat down and told yourself you were going to do that,
you're like, what? No.
no, I would never do that. Why would anybody want to do that? I don't want to fight, but you do it subconsciously, and it's because you're depressed or you're upset or you've had a shitty week, and you know what? I know that this person, the repercussions from this is not going to be whatever, you know what I mean? So you go for it, and you don't realize you're doing it.
No,
So it's,
100%. I understand that I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm picking fights. I'm like, why am I doing this?
yeah, over stupid shit.
Yeah.
You're just like, what? Why am I doing? What is this all about? You know?
Yeah. So we'll just now we're going to get into a little bit of the fire service side of things.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of getting towards that to control chaos and
Yeah.
chasing dopamine. So I think it's a good spot to
Jump into
that.
Yeah.
With the fire service. So how'd you end up in the fire service?
So, I was joking with you earlier, but honest, like one of my earliest memories is sitting on my grandfather's lap at the old fire hall in Hoyt. You know what I mean? We had 3 bays, a half-ton tanker, and a pumper, and that was, and there was a little room on the side of it that had a meeting room, and that's what we had. You know what I mean? I remember sitting on the back. Everybody was all the guys were up there having the meeting, and they were talking about whatever, and I was sitting at the back by the old dispatch desk, the old watch desk, basically, and with him, and so I've been around it forever. Like,
that's pretty cool. So you must have learned a lot from.
So much, man.
Yeah.
So much. I was joking with the boys the other day. Like, I remember so many things that I shouldn't, because I was introduced to it at such a young age. You know what I mean? Like belt mounted regulator, air packs, like the old.
Oh, really? Little tube that.
Man, yeah. I have one in my garage that I wore, like, and I have a little one that my grandfather had built for me when I was 5 years old. Right. So I saved that, and of course, like, now I'm lucky enough that I did save it, and I'm going to give that to my son, right? Like, he'll be able to wear it. But man, I remember being 5 years old. I knew everything about that thing.
Oh, really?
Everything. I knew exactly how it functioned. I knew what the parts were called. I knew how to put it on. I knew how to fill it. I knew everything about that thing.
See, and that's stuff that carries on to the fire service.
You know what I mean? And that's, like we were kind of talking earlier, it's like certain things, and this is where, too, like, I've had a hard time with what bleeds into what.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? I got the fire service is such a huge part of my life, but also I've had this ADHD for 30 years that I didn't know about. So now I gotta kind of look at what's bleeding into what, right? Like, it's interesting how it helps each other too. But I also am starting to find out now that it creates some chaos in some other ways. So it's it's interesting, like, So, but anyway, I got into it then. I was around it then, when I was. As I grew up, as I got a little bit older, I was in the junior fire department. We have a junior fire department program there, and the Hoyt Fire Department is such a huge part of our community. Something that all of us that have served there are so proud of. We've had so many members that have gone on to career positions, Fredericton and Moncton and St. John, and like we've had a very good, and my grandfathers have left incredible marks on those departments. So something very close to my heart, of course. So I was fortunate. I got to go through it my whole life, junior fire department all the way. And then when I turned 16, I was eligible to be a senior member or like a whatever. So I turned 16, and like not a week later, we had a structure fire, and we get
that's why it wasn't your first one by that point.
No, it was I was very lucky, and like something that we were so lucky to have is house burns.
Okay. Oh yeah, you did live burns.
So many of them.
I wish we did that here. It's so important.
I'm telling you, man, of all the experience I've ever had anywhere, it's the best experience I've ever had, bar none. Even calls included, going to actual real structure fires. The experience you gain in a live burn in a live building. You take this building, and 2 of us walk in here and say, we're going to burn this. We're going to come in and put it out. It's an incredible experience. And you're
man, you get to feel the heat. You get to actually feel, you can see what the fire is doing. So it makes sense to do those live burns, because you get better understanding of what you need to do and how the fire is going to react, how what's going to do, like where's the smoke going,
Right.
what's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really wish we did that.
Yeah, man. And it's real building materials.
Yeah, how it's going to burn, how it's going to react. Because, I mean, it's, pallets are pallets, but it's not.
Yeah. You can get, I think you can get close.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get close. But
you can get close.
It's like anything, even like with the military, you can train for all that you want.
Yeah.
Until you've actually been in that, until you start getting shot at or something like that. You could say this. Yeah. But I think with firefighting, with actually doing live burns, that's pretty much the real thing.
It's as close as you can get. It's the most controlled, uncontrolled thing that I can imagine for training. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I've seen some horror stories. You know what I mean? I remember being a kid, going to a live burn, and I remember they had this place as safe as it gets, 1403 standard, or, you know what I mean? Double gyp rock all around for a level 1 burn. And they were just burning hay in pallets. Mm-hmm. And they flashed that room over, and people got burnt at it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Like, quite, you know what I mean? Yeah. Fairly, you know, not, you know, nobody was hospitalized or anything like that, but there were some fairly significant burns for what was a very controlled environment.
Mm-hmm. You know, and that's what you're going to get for those things. I mean, like a lot of us we know that's the possibility of getting hurt. Even a controlled thing is going to happen because fire is its own beast.
If it's own sometimes,
You think you can control it, but no it's going to do what it wants.
It does its thing.
But it's nice to actually see it and see how it's going to react. I mean,
absolutely.
It's not always going to be the same way, but there's going to be tells.
Right.
So, you know, before a room flashes, we could, you know what I mean? You can feel it.
And, and it's nice to see that, you know, you get in somewhere like that, you get to, you know, show people like, this is smoke banking. This is, you know, you start seeing those fingers come out and you feel the heat change.
Yes. It just,
like it does.
Yeah.
You know,
it almost drops on you, but
right. Yeah. And you see the weird effects that people don't often think of, like, you know, like if, you know, when a flashover starts, if you're a little ways away from it, it burns a lot of smoke off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you start seeing smoke burn off. It's time to open a nozzle or find somewhere else. Like, you know what I mean?
Get out of that room where you're flashing over.
You know, it's to have those, I was very fortunate to have those opportunities. So anyway, so I volunteered there. Once I turned 18, actually, I was good to go with everything. You know, it was actually official, and so I volunteered there. Got all my, I had already completed all my level 1, level 2, and when I turned 18, my certificates were mailed to me, and I was good. So
You've been doing that since 3, is that?
I've been hanging around the station since I was 3, and like officially, like as far as paper trail goes, it's 16 so 2009 was when I joined.
That's when your my
official start date. 09.
That's awesome.
So and then from there I challenged all my Gold Seal exams and I got hired on Fredericton Airport in 2013.
Okay.
And I worked there until 2018 when I got hired on the city. And,
wow.
Yeah.
And how long have you been at that training associate thing again?
So actually that was kind of really my first. I remember growing up, my grandfather always saying, like, guys that he would work with, he would always say, like, this guy was a school teacher by trade, or this guy was and he was actually a truck driver before he got on. So he was a truck driver by trade. You know, like I remember him saying that, and not in a negative way. It was actually a compliment, like to say, like, you know, this guy has experience outside the fire service that's valuable to us. You know what I mean? Like that's what he was saying. But in my mind, I didn't want to be anything but a fireman. Man, I never wanted to be anything but a fireman. I didn't want anybody to call me anything other than a fireman. I didn't want to be anything by trade. Yeah. I wanted to be a fireman. Yeah. And so...
You think about the military for a little bit?
You know what? I actually did.
Oh, yeah?
I did, honest to God. I did the Sea Cadets for, I joined when I was 12, and I did till I was 18, 19. It's, there's a lot of incentive there. Like, every year I gave would have been a half year towards my pension. I could have went military firefighter if I wanted, but I probably would have went Navy because I was in the Sea Cadets, so that would have been...
Oh, whatever. That makes sense. I don't know, but I mean, Navy's Navy, military's military.
Yeah.
I guess kind of another way... I'm kind of jumping all over the place here, but so what you're talking about, you're a fourth generation firefighter, is that correct?
Yeah.
So I find it very interesting how, you being in the military and then the fire service, how many like generations that goes back.
Yeah.
I have so many like family members throughout my history that's always been in these type of roles.
Right.
and you have been too.
Yeah.
If you want to dive into that a little bit.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And hey, this jumping around thing, that's just how it works.
Just the ADHD brain.
Yeah, 100%.
You're talking, I'm getting like more questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good thing. That's, you know what I mean? The more we can get out here, the better, I think. But, it's, but yeah, absolutely. It's like you said, I'm fourth generation. My great grandfather went to war. He was with the New Brunswick Rangers. And he was stationed in Labrador. Before they went overseas. He was 16 when he enlisted.
What's the Rangers? What's that?
They were an infantry division. They were a light armor division. They had so he was a Bren gun carrier, which was that was I got to hear some pretty cool stories from him over the years. That I was just saying last night. A buddy of mine told me that he told me years ago. He said you should record all that stuff, and I regret so much I never did it. Yeah, that'd be cool. So it is, but I still remember a lot of the stories, and as we know, a lot of them didn't really want to share a lot of them anyway. So
I'm probably a little more open with this stuff because I find it helps, but a lot of those guys don't like talking about that stuff. And I get it.
I think it's kind of different now too, the way we look at things, and I think it's good to be open about it, and I think it's good to have people that you can be open about it with. You know what I mean? Like we've kind of chatted before, like it's not the military and the fires. It's different.
Different and in a lot of ways it's the same.
There's a lot of similarities too. Like I think that we struggle a lot similarly in with our PTSD in a sense. And again, it's different. But it's you see a lot of tragedy.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of tragedy. Yeah. By all means. You know what I mean? And it's
tragedy's tragedy.
But tragedy's tragedy, you know what I mean? So I think it's cool, like, and growing up in Ormuckto, like and I still spend a lot of time hanging around with like the volunteers in Ormuckto, and a lot of those guys are military and stuff, and like I've had a lot of good conversations with those guys.
And there's a big military base in Ormuckto. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's largest training base in Canada. I think.
Really? Okay,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
It might be the second, but I think it's still the largest. Yeah. So it's a very there's a lot of overlap in the communities, I think.
Yeah,
and I think we can support each other a lot too, which is nice, right? It's
So. It's kind of off the topic too here again. So you are writing a book, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm kind of working away. I was working on a book, and then I backtracked a little bit. I was having some trouble. I was using ChatGPT, and I was starting to get frustrated, if you can imagine.
Yeah.
So, but it was if you asked Emily, she'd tell you it was my new hyper focus for a while. I was doing a lot. Yeah. But I had found all that new stuff from this would be my grandmother's father. It was his war memorabilia, you know what I mean? Like he was in the 1st Special Service Force, and just kind of different conversations over there. I was talking to Tyler Brown, a guy we work with, his grandfather was in it too. They actually served together, which is such a crazy story that, when we look at that happened in 1944, and now here we are, it's 2000 and
both serving together again.
And Ty and I are together. When we found out, we were working on the same truck.
Like, that's pretty.
You know what I mean?
Well, life's so funny that way, isn't it?
It's so crazy, man. Like it's they served right together, and so Tyler actually, he has his grandfather's, it's called a Buren's book, and it's like they call it like the Force Bible, basically.
Okay, yeah.
So it
like
has
a creed, or like they're
it's like after they came back, they put all the members in the book, and they wrote some different stories and whatever. So anyway, Tyler opened his grandfather's book and was going down through it, and there's a light pen mark right beside my great grandfather's name.
Oh, so really?
and Tyler's mother actually remembers coming to Cornhill, where my great grandfather and my grandmother would have grew up. My great grandfather lived. She seems to recall coming and actually visiting up there.
Oh, really?
So they probably
small world
kept it.
And so if anybody, it was 1st Special Force Brigade?
Yeah, 1st Special Service Force.
So if anybody don't know, that was a mixed unit of Canadians, Americans. Yeah. Was it the 1st Special Forces unit?
It was, yeah. It was the only ones that were sort of maybe ahead of them was the British SAS.
SAS, okay, yeah.
And
they were in Africa, weren't they?
Yeah. They were the commandos, I think, at that time, the SAS. So anyway, they were kind of going, and then these guys here, they were designed basically for a suicide mission. They were going to drop them into Norway to destroy a bunch of power plants and say good luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so everybody knows that's the Devil's Brigade. So, I don't think a lot of Americans know that. Like, I didn't know that until I moved here. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's, you know what? It was a small unit, and it never got talked about for years. Oh. And then the movie came out. There was a big movie about it. It's an
older movie, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I think I've seen it.
It's called The Devil's Brigade. Yeah. And so it was pretty good, but it was an older movie, and then there hasn't really been anything much about it. Like the ones that post a lot about it is Caesar. They are big on giving out that information because they trace their lineage back to it, and they're they're big on showcasing that. They're quite proud of that. And if you look at their flag and stuff, it lists all their
the campaign kind of
they
thing?
list their campaigns too.
Oh, that's pretty
so
cool.
like it says like Mont La Defensa and like all as you go down through it's pretty awesome actually.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should write that book, man.
I think it would be cool. And I want to get back around to it. But what was happening to me was ChatGPT was throwing me off, and it was throwing in.
Yeah, I find like I do use like I want to kind of do a book with my father. As we both served in the same war, so I'm kind of still working on it.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT's not. I think it's a good tool, but it can throw you way off on some rabbit holes that aren't true.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think sometimes it like makes things up, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, and that's what it was doing to me. So I was getting super frustrated with it. Yeah. Now I've regained some patience for it. I've re-sparked my interest in it, and I'm taking it a little bit slower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just
because of the ADHD. Because I find like me writing, I get so frustrated because I go back and I'm looking at it, I'm just like, oh, same idea. I'm all over the place.
Yeah,
but I'm really now trying to work with my ADHD and figure out how it works for me. So, so I find now if I take like, okay, so this paragraph's going to be about this one thing, and I try to stick with that thing, and I'll put my main idea, and then I try to fill in my body of it, and then I try to close, and it's been working for me. So,
yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Here's an interesting question for you. Have you ever used ChatGPT for your ADHD?
Like to help me.
Do you ever ask it questions or
no, not really.
You ever see like you can do like a project folder? So I have a project folder for like my ADHD. Okay. So if I have like shit going on, I'm just like, this doesn't make sense. Like we were talking about getting frustrated or like looking for dopamine or whatever. And it's just like, if I have this new thing that's or if I notice this thing that I've never thought of before, or if it, like alarm bells go off, like you're just like, oh, this might be an ADHD thing that you just never thought of or never noticed. I'll plug that stuff into ADHD. And the other thing that I've been trying to do is like, you have like the sensory overload and stuff. Like, you just, for me, that comes out with frustration. I get so upset, like mad, man. Like I'm just like, if I need this table clear and there's 1,000 things on it, the table's going to be clear. Yeah. But like, so now what I'm trying to do is go in and like plug some of that stuff in, and it's actually tracking and working on the force project, the first special service force project, even doing that. I've gone back and asked it like, help me figure out, but like we live in a cycle. Yeah. Like we go through like, and because we work shift work, and this is interesting, I think this would be an interesting point, but we live our lives in a 4-day cycle constantly. All the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? All the time.
Usually, like today's my first day off. And
right? Yeah. My last day off. And I couldn't tell you what day today it is.
No, it was Monday. But I don't know like the actual date, but I don't know the date.
June something. Yeah. But what I find interesting is, so it actually come back and it gave me some insight over all the conversations that I've had and whatever else. And it was saying like, you tend to be at your peak performance on whatever, and it wasn't exactly connecting the dots for me, but it was saying, like you seem to run in like a 4-day cycle where you have like 2 really good days of production, and then you're pissed off at me all the time. But like, that was an interesting piece, like an interesting insight for me, and it wasn't saying because of our shift work, but what I sort of surmised out of that was that probably because we work shift work, our body is so adapted to that 4-day cycle, right? You're working that day. That's a good day for us, right? Because we're going to get dopamine today, regardless. Something's happening.
I always feel so good at work,
right?
Well, I'm on the pills. I am.
yeah, 100%. Yeah,
that's a whole different.
But like people think we're nuts, but we go to work and we actually. It's not that you hope for people's houses to burn. I don't want anybody to lose their home. That's horrible. But I hope if that's going to happen, because it's going to happen. That's why we have a job. I hope it's my day. Yeah. I hope I'm working. Yeah. And no offense, but if your house is going to catch fire, I hope it's me that gets to come to it. Yeah. Like, you might look at it as I'm having fun, but you should probably hope that I'm going to have fun with that.
Yeah, you got to love your job.
You don't want me to show up scared. Yeah. You don't want me to show up
scared and not motivated to do it, not being into it.
Right.
I mean, with anything, like even with the military, you gotta love the job because it makes you better. You have to. You have to. Like it's. If you're not loving the job, I mean, what are you doing?
100%. I can't imagine, Roy Melvin, one of the greatest mentors. I have so much respect for that man. But I remember him saying one time, and I always thought it was kind of like it was funny, but it stuck with me. It's, I can't imagine coming to this job scared to do this job.
Yeah. I can.
like, man, I can't imagine like
living that way.
No, that would be horrible.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. But like it's but so that's sort of day one for us. That's a good day.
Yeah.
And then day two, as we know, and I've had so many interesting conversations with guys at work about day two, because day two affects us.
Yeah,
it affects us big time.
That makes sense,
right? Yeah. And it's you're now you've had either a boost of dopamine from your day one, I'll say, or you went there and got no dopamine, hoping that you would.
And you're pissed off.
Yeah. You didn't sleep all night, regardless. Like, whatever. Like, it
I don't really sleep. I don't sleep well.
Never. And it's not, you might get the rest, but you're on edge. You're on edge. And it doesn't matter if you go out or not. If anybody else does, you're listening to that. So that, people think like, oh, these guys work for 24 hours. They get to go to bed all night. It's not as pretty as it seems. Like, it's,
and then that actually fits perfectly the next question I have.
Yeah.
But what parts the job naturally come to you because of it? And I think this is spot, because I think we're kind of naturally getting into that.
Actually, yeah, absolutely. And it's that was when I thought about that question, it was an interesting concept. Like, what comes naturally to you? What does the ADHD help? Mm-hmm. And it's the problem solving element. Mm-hmm. There was a period in my life where, like, up home when I volunteered, I'll say I was like 18, 19. That was my outlet, right? That was my place. I didn't work anywhere as a firefighter. I wasn't really teaching as much. I was still running the roads teaching, but we were just really kind of getting into it at that point. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
I had that outlet too, and I was learning a lot. I learned so much from teaching still.
Yeah, okay.
Like, that's really, of all the things that keep me sharp, like, that's probably one of the things that keeps me at the top of my game. Right,
like teaching other words,
running the roads and doing the repetitions and doing it over and over and over again. And you might go do a search class and just do a demonstration. Well, that demonstration is my rep.
Yeah,
that's my rep. Yeah. So I get to get down and I get to do it, and that's what keeps me on my A game.
Keeping your hands on it and keeping it fresh in your mind, that makes a lot of sense.
Right. So I was just getting into that groove at a point in my life, like where I was 18, 19, and so the volunteer department. We have an engine there, like it's a pumper tanker. It's got 1,000 gallons of water, and my grandfather was the chief there, and we had some resistance on some of the things we want to do. Smoothbore nozzles.
Oh, wow, I wish we did that.
Man, it's such a fight for everyone. But
I don't understand why. I don't
get it either. Yeah. And there was a like a lot of education that went on in the 90s that said, if a room flashes over, you have to go to a wide fog to protect yourself. Man, I'm gonna tell you.
It's not gonna.
It's gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah, you're throwing more steam in the air. If it flashes over and you break the particle smaller, it's gonna.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You're gonna burn yourself.
Yeah, you're gonna pressurize that room with so much steam, and if your hood's sticking up,
you're
razor blades.
Man.
But it's give you a chance. You take your smoothbore nozzle. Now you got to keep in mind we had. No smoothbore nozzles.
No.
Except for the one that we found, the two that we found that were the original nozzles from the fire department.
Yeah.
Original nozzles. They didn't have anything else. They had these two brass smoothbore nozzles. We threaded them. They were 3/8 tip.
Okay.
So we threaded them onto a shutoff, and we had this house. It was an old farmhouse with a big sun porch on the side of it. So they lit the house on fire, and they lit the sun porch on fire. They said, the sun porch is yours. Push it back past the entry door. We're going to send another line into the house. All right.
Yeah.
So, sure enough, we went in with this little 3/8 shitty nozzle, and we kicked the shit out of it. And when we come out, the chief was standing there. He's like, "All right, order yourselves a nozzle. Let's get a real one."
Yeah.
And then it began. So now our engine doesn't have a single line on it with a fog nozzle. Not one.
No, I don't really know why our department doesn't really go towards that. I wish we would. I think it's you're pumping at a lower pressure. You're getting more penetration with less water and more. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand why we're not using it.
I think it's a simpler concept all overall. Like, you know what I mean? It makes a lot of sense, but I think it's like anything. We're firemen.
Yeah.
We're the two things we hate the most is the way things are and change.
Yeah.
That's what we hate the most.
So
we're our own worst enemies.
Yeah,
we fight amongst ourselves over stuff, whatever, but But I'll tell you, smoothbores is one of those things that baffles me a little bit. Like, you fly down over the hill from one station to the museum, that place is full of them.
Yeah, that's what they use back. It's a proven thing. They've been using them for years. Why are we not?
Pretty straightforward.
Just because we introduced these combination nozzles, and now we can't go back to the
right. Right. But the biggest thing is, though, it's always tools in the toolbox.
Yeah.
Everything's a tool for the tool. I'm not saying get rid of fog nozzles.
No.
I'm just saying smoothbore is better for interior attack.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I'm being honest with you, like smoothbore is a better interior attack nozzle, and our bread and butter is interior firefighting. Yeah. When we go to the propane fire, I got a minute to switch my nozzle if I need to.
Yeah. Switch them out when you need to. That makes complete sense.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
have them both in the truck, but
I'd rather be prepared for the thing that we're going to do the most, that has the most life cost. Mm-hmm. We need to get a line inside of a burning building and get people out of it. Mm-hmm. Right? Propane cylinder blowing off at any industrial site.
You can switch those nozzles out in 2 seconds.
We got a second. We can switch it off. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like it's and just as a counterpoint, not that the goal is to put the fire out when in that event, but as a counterpoint to all those people that make that point, I've personally had my own eyes. I've seen a smoothbore nozzle put out a propane fire.
Oh, there you go.
I've seen it happen. So,
hey.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. So I suppose we're going to get back onto the advantages with ADHD.
Yeah. So I would say my biggest advantage for me is the mechanical aptitude. Right. That's the overall. I would say.
Understanding that.
I've always said like. We're the fire department. That's what we do. But ultimately, what we are is problem solvers.
Yes,
we solve whatever problems put in front of us, and if we can't solve it, we'll give you the number for the people who can, and we're going to fix it for now, so it's not an immediate problem.
Yeah,
that's what we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've always been super fortunate. You know, the mechanical advantage. I sort of have an ability to take a step back and see how things work. Right. And that's always been a huge. So that's where, like, you know, I have a very big interest in rescue.
Okay.
Right. So it's auto extrication, and you know, you look at a car. Most people look at a car, they see whatever. I see places to pop a door. I see places to make a cut. I see places to roll a dash. I see what's strong. I see what's not going to work. I see hardened steel. I see, you know, what's, you know, it's same with build
pattern recognition.
Pattern recognition.
Yeah.
it's not that it's easy, because it's not. It's not different than math. It's the same kind of concept. It's not easy, but you know, and
the difference cars changing, and
absolutely,
you always got to stay up on those things.
What I think I appreciate the most about it is, and you know, I said it's kind of like math. Is where it differs from math is you can do something on one car that works perfect.
Yeah,
line up to do that exact same thing on another car, and you're going to actually give yourself more problems.
Yes,
right.
Yep.
So I appreciate that, because it's a challenge. Like it's very challenging. Same thing with, you know, start talking about like building collapse, structural collapse. I'm very interested in structural collapse. I love structural collapse. There's a lot of calculations to it. There's math. You know, you have to think about load distribution. You have to think about weight maximums and minimums and stuff like that. Like, you know, you kind of have to think about that. And it's funny, because where I don't have that much interest in the sense, like I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
Rope rescue. It's the same thing, man. It's all geometry.
Yeah. It's levers and pulleys and
it makes sense to me. I understand mechanical advantage. I understand how that stuff all works. It's just it doesn't super enthuse me. You know what I mean?
It's not really piquing your curiosity and interest.
Right. Yeah. Now, building collapse, trench collapse. Yeah. I haven't had as much time to play with, but I find that interesting. I feel like extrication, the rescue side of it, like. That's where, you know, I find that stuff very challenging. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I enjoy the process of. Yeah.
Well, even like maybe in the ladder truck driver, I like driving that more than I do a pumper. I find the pumper is just like, that's pumper. Yeah.
Right.
You pull in front of it, you pull levers but like, it's like with the ladder truck, you're like, okay, I got to come to this building. I got to get a certain angle. So I want to get the corner of that building, because I want to maximize my stretch with my, with my
bigger, it's a bigger challenge. It's more, you know,
and I find a lot of people like, shy away from that, trying to do that, and they don't like driving a ladder truck. All right, well, I like the challenge, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's funny that, you know, that came up, because it was something I was thinking about today. Is like, now I'm going through the ladder 1 course right now, and man,
it's fun, man, when you get into it. Like I didn't realize I was so like dreading to be in. Oh, you're going to be the ladder driver. I was like, oh well, all right, whatever. Let's do it. But as I did it for the last 10 years, it's problem solving. It's you really got to be aware of where you're putting this thing, and you got to think ahead.
Yeah. But it so contrasts the other things that interest me that I dread it so much. Yeah. Oh man. Like I always joke, I drive, I work on engine one. I'm so lucky, and my platoon chief treated me really good, and I appreciate him. He's put me uptown, like working on engine one, busiest truck in the city. Yeah. Like, man, I love that. I'm on the go all the time, and that fills me up. You know what I mean? That really fills me up. I love going on calls, and I always joke, if we're not first due, I tell the junior guy in the back, put my air pack on the floor, I'll come find you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's because like that's where I find my challenge. Like I want to get off the truck and I want to go meet the crew and I want to go. Yeah. I want to go take this building apart. Like I want to go do some stuff in there. Like
you want to do your job.
Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then I've been saying with the ladder truck, it's like you're kind of tied to the turntable. Like you can't get too far away.
It could be pretty cold nights, but it's a lot more than just the pumper.
Absolutely. And to your point, it does create a different challenge, and it's not like I have a choice. You know what I mean? And so in that regard, it's the ability to look at that and see that challenge, because I see exactly what you're saying. You know what I mean? You got to now. It's not just pull
past the building, pull a line off, pull some levers,
put it in
pump gear.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Now it's like, all right, I'm going to put this thing up. I got to think about my scrub. We got to think about, if
overhead.
What's
electricity over your head? So you're like, when you're coming on scene, I'm always like, okay, where's the power lines going? Where's the best spot? I got to set this thing up. I got to be uphill. I got to, there's a lot more to it.
So much. And it's a whole new challenge. So I can appreciate that side of it, even though it's not my...
not me either. And I just kind of
it's not
accepted the role and try to make the best of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And finding that I actually kind of like it.
And there's another advantage, right, to the ADHD is like, it's maybe not the thing that I want to be doing, but I'll make the best of it. I'll pick the things out of it that, that sort of do pique my interest, right? And I'll make it fun if I can. And that's another beautiful thing about our job too, is like, our job, like, there's no bad parts to our job. No. We have the best job in the world. Like, it's incredible.
Best job ever had.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so even like we're talking about, like even ADHD and so being calm. I know, we kind of touched on a little earlier about, our brains are so chaotic and so all over the place. And I find when you get in those stressful situations, I'm at peace. I don't know what to explain it. Like even in like in the military, I never, like, guys would like get scared and freak out. I'm just like, this feels, I mean, of course I didn't want to die or anything. We don't want to die and be stupid with things, but it just, I feel more at ease and more focused when I'm in those chaotic situations, if that makes sense.
It's eerily peaceful.
Yeah.
Is how I've described it.
It's just, it's weird.
It is weird. And it's, to me, like, I always say that I am most comfortable in a random house that or building that I've never been in before, where I can't see my hand in front of my face.
I have where you're at.
I don't know where I am. No, and it's hot. And I don't know, like you got air on your back. That's your lifeline.
Yeah.
Hopefully
that goes out. You're shit out of luck.
Yeah. And you got a Halligan bar in your hand. There's nothing more peaceful in the world than that.
It's weird.
It's at home. Yeah. That's home. You know what I mean? Like, that's where you're like, this is so easy. Like, not easy. I keep saying
no, not easy, but it's just, I think people with, I feel peace.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I've told the story before, but like I was working one night, it's like, we do deal with a lot of tragedy and whatever, and, but it's not every day you get fires, people trapped, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And that's a different kind of pressure.
It's a different kind of pressure.
Yeah.
And I remember one night we were working and, man, like you can go a long time, not have a call come in like that or whatever. And as we all know, it's one of those things. The dispatch is sometimes never anything like what the call is.
No. Like
you get a run at 2:00 in the morning for a fire alarm, and it
could be somebody bleeding out. That's just like
fire alarm because their friggin' arm was chopped off. Like, you know what I mean? That was the first thing they thought of, and whatever. Yeah. Right. So, but I remember this call coming in. It was structure fire. It was uptown. It was on the second floor of a 3-story building, and there was a mother and kids trapped on the 3rd floor.
Okay.
Man, that's like, that's like
that's
you know what I mean? Like, that's peak stress. Pressure. Like, and I remember going out and getting in the truck, and I've never felt more calm in my life.
Yeah.
Never.
It's weird.
It's so weird, man. And I get on the truck, and I remember being like, did you guys catch that update? And nobody heard the update. And I was like, there's a fire.
Yeah.
There's fire on
People
Division
third
2.
floor, kids stop.
Mother and 2 kids trapped Division 3. We're probably going to be in a place where that's going to be our job. Like that's going to be our assignment. It's those, you know what I mean? Like,
so you're seeing the pattern of things, like, and you're hearing it because you're in that calm situation,
right?
Which I think it's very important, because in those stressful situations, if you're panicking and not really in the moment,
right,
you're going to miss something. You're going to make a mistake.
Yes,
And I think that is a huge advantage for people with ADHD.
Yeah, so. Couldn't agree more. And not to say that you never get worked, because
I still get worked up.
Absolutely, I get stressed.
That's another good spot we can go to, because there's a downside to it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, there is. Yeah.
Yeah, and we kind of got into that. How's your ADHD affect your ability to problem solve? It's a strength, and there's some weaknesses to it.
There's some blockages there too.
Yeah, because like even with me, but like for the longest time, I wasn't medicated. Yeah. I was just kind of raw dogging things.
Yeah.
What I mean? And driving to the call was the most stressful thing to me.
Yeah. Because
even though I knew the street, for some reason, when it came over, it's just like, like I don't know where am I going?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's so, like I'd lay in bed and just be like stressing about it. Like, oh man, like why can't my brain just do this?
Yes.
And then now I'm taking the meds and just like, that's not even a factor.
Because that was one of my points for like one of the biggest weaknesses is definitely with the driving.
Oh yeah,
man, I don't know what it is.
I didn't want to do it. I wasn't interested in it.
Me neither. I joked with the chief when he gave me my promotion. I said, "Is there any way I can be number one hall-day guy like forever? Can I just stay hall-day guy? I don't want to drive. I just want to sit in the back. Like it's the best job in the world. I just come get in the back of a fire engine and go to work.
Cool stuff.
Yeah. But that adds a whole new level to it. So, and like you said, you're sitting there and it's so weird. Like when a run comes in and you look down at that and it's like, you see structure fire on whatever. And it's a street you've been to 20 times.
But it's just like,
what street is that? Where's that street? What? Yeah. It's
crazy. Like a disconnect. It's so wild. It's like, it's so frustrating. Because even throughout the whole life, it's like this. You're trying to write something, but it's just that disconnect where your brain just not processing it. It's just like, man, I feel so stupid right now. Why?
Yeah. It's like your brain just puts a block on it.
Yeah, just like, yeah. But the cool thing with ADHD, I find a lot of people that have it actually have very high IQs and high intelligence. And I don't know if maybe it's I was kind of curious to read about that. If it's the byproduct of that, maybe for having.
You know what? I think that would make sense in the sense of when you look at the hyper focus side of it. Mm-hmm. Whatever your hyper focus is, if you're interested in something,
I could spend hours just right into it. But then it's normal stuff that I need to do.
Right.
I can't.
Yeah. And it's like when I was 12 years old, I knew everything about the 1939 to 1945 American military. Everything. I knew every move they made because I loved history. You know what I mean?
I was like big into tactics and learning. Like I would study, like if it came to like Napoleon or Hannibal. Barca, conquering Rome, and Julius Caesar, or Alexander the Great, man. I was just like read their battles and like, how'd they do that? He flanked here and he did this. Yeah, I was so into it.
Yeah,
crazy. But when it came to writing, I'm just like, I couldn't get it.
100%. I always joke about, I had an English teacher in grade 11 or 12, I can't recall. I can't even remember the poor woman's name because I got no brain. You know what I mean? Like, man, I can't remember anything ever. Yeah. But this woman, I've had so many good English teachers that were, I don't know if they just understood or whatever, but
probably understood you had something going on.
Right. I'd go down to shop class and I'd do whatever. But I remember we had to do a book report.
Okay.
And Shakespeare.
Oh, yeah, you're probably like, nope.
I hate Shakespeare so much. Like, we were talking about school earlier. That was one of the biggest things for me was like, going through school, I knew what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I didn't need to go till I was 18 to figure out that I wanted to be a fireman. I knew what I wanted to do.
That, yeah.
So going and taking Shakespeare was like, man, why? This isn't going to help me later in life. Yeah. Right? So anyway, I had very good teachers, at least some of them.
Yeah.
And I remember we had to do this book report, and I was in the shop all the time, and I was going to this, going to that, and whatever. And she was very good to me, always let me go, do what I wanted or needed to do. And and the shop teachers were always hauling me in for, I worked on some of the teachers' cars and stuff. That was, my grade 12.
The mechanical part of it.
Right?
Yeah.
That mechanical aptitude. So, anyway, we had to do this book report. So I went to her and I said, like, is this an assigned book or can I pick a book? And she's like, well, we're doing Shakespeare. And I was just like, oh, she's like, I know, like, you have a lot on the go and whatever. So if there's a book that you would like to do, then do your own. Yeah. So, man, I had this book. It was Last Man Out by Tom Downey. Okay. And it's about Rescue 2 in New York City.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
It's incredible.
I'm going to have to pick up that one.
Incredible. If you want, like I still have my copy. I'll lend it to you. You can read it. But man, I'm telling you, I read that book probably 6 times in high school.
Oh, really?
I didn't have to read it for this book report. I just wrote the report.
Oh, yeah. You already read it.
Yeah. It was just...
Peak curiosity was already...
I probably did it like 2 days after it was due, and I probably did it in like 10 minutes. But you know what I mean? Like I had already read it so many times, and that was a big part of... I always say that I give that book sort of credit in piquing my interest towards rescue firefighting.
Okay. Yeah.
In the sense of like, the building collapse and the, like looking at that aspect of the fire service, which wasn't really anything I had ever been introduced to before, right? And it's not a huge culture in New Brunswick.
No, that's, I don't know why we don't teach that, because I mean, that's something that could really bite us in our ass.
I think it's just a matter of same as everything else that we do here. We're not proactive, we're reactive. Yeah. We haven't had a building collapse.
Something happens and then,
right?
Instead of being prepared, which...
Yep. When half a dozen people die, or when some minister's family member dies,
then it's going to change.
Then we'll do collapse rescue. All of a sudden, we'll be a bunch of assholes because we don't offer that service. Why wouldn't you offer that service, right?
Yeah,
because it's not.
Yeah, that's a long.
It's a whole other thing.
That's it, and then you're getting into
yeah,
politicians.
Yeah.
City and stuff, which
and I know there's
frustrating.
Yeah, and there's we can't do everything.
No,
I know that. There's definitely limits and whatever, but it can be frustrating for sure.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll how about we'll get into like the mental health side of having ADHD, and I think we kind of discussed this earlier about the ADHD, the fire service, and how that affects the mental health of firefighters that are in these roles. Mm. And how ADHD, as we're younger, it's hyperactivity, but as we get older, it turns into other things because we're not letting that energy out anymore because we're older men. So it comes out more in depression and anxiety and stuff. Have you find any of that kind of?
Something, honestly, man, like I think through my life, you look at the term ADHD, you look at the term depression, you look at the term anxiety. Mm-hmm. They're all negative terms. Yeah. You don't want to have that. I don't want to identify as that. I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be, but realistically, like, I've always had ADHD and I look at it now. I don't look at it as a negative thing.
No.
Right. You know what I mean? But it does come with negative things.
It does.
And there's times where I go through life and I'm depressed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not ups and downs.
Like, and it's, obviously we control it. We do, it's not like if we still go to work, we still have our lives. We have families that we care for and live with. And, you do your absolute best to not let it affect that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
it does.
That's 100%.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
And that's when we're seeking that dopamine.
Yeah.
And back to kind of what we were talking about, you look at the chaos as home, right? Mm-hmm. We go to work, go inside of a burning building,
the dopamine.
Like, so great.
I'm home.
It's not that big of a deal. Things slow down. It feels good. Then you go home and there's nothing like that at home.
Oh, it's quiet. It's peaceful. There's no, there's nothing chaotic going on. Your brain starts going a little overdrive. Start thinking about things.
And try telling your wife that you're more comfortable going into a burning building than sitting down having a real conversation at home about a real life thing with her.
Yeah.
Because that's the hardest thing we have to do. Mm-hmm. It's not going into a burning building. Oh. That's a release. That's a good thing for us. It's not, but it is a good thing for us.
Coming home and dealing with that everyday stuff.
And it's a horrible thing to say that's the hardest part of our lives. Yeah. And it's for me, you have to find, like for me, I had to find sort of purpose for it. Until the last couple of years, I ran the roads all the time. I didn't do any. That was literally the fire service was my life.
Yeah.
I volunteered, taught, and went to work, and that was like my site, like all the time. But now I have a son, and I really, I really love his mother. You know what I mean? Like we have such a beautiful family and such a great life together, and we're so fortunate to have what we have. And now when I think about it, it's that I have to share this stuff with her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I
you
have to
let
be
her know.
open.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, you know, she understands that the chaos is comfort, but the hard stuff is
Quiet.
real life, right?
That's have a minute for your your brain to process things, and that's when I find just like, okay, like that's where the issues start.
Yeah.
You know, nothing's chaos going on around me. I'm sitting at home by myself. I'm just like,
stuck in there.
Just and then you can't shut your brain off because of the ADHD, and it's always this thing, and sometimes you go down, you know, maybe train of thoughts that you probably shouldn't be thinking about, but it's just how our brains work.
It's just how it works.
And then you throw on, you know, the low dopamine, and then you get to low serotonin and levels. And, you know, for the longest time, I was on, you know, antidepressants.
Right.
I was on that for a while. Kind of numbed me out too much, but I wasn't on ADHD meds. Right. But the cool thing was, once it was 2 years ago, I actually started taking them again. I don't know why. I wish I would have took them growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
Kind of curious, but if I would have been a fireman, I don't know. Because I mean, now I'm pursuing things that like doing this stuff.
Yeah.
I know I'm writing books now, and it's because I'm actually able. I don't know. I flipped a switch on my brain. These pills, like I feel like my brain's working better. I feel like I'm able to have more coherent thoughts, and you know what I mean. And I'm not so. And then all the depression stuff,
right?
It subsided a lot because I started taking these pills, and I'm not on those antidepressants anymore. I just take my ADHD pill.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I still have issues with the PTSD stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like anything, you got to work with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Try to make the best of your life.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think even a lot of firefighters, fire department becomes their whole identity. Mm-hmm. And then when you have to get away from that, we really don't know what to do with ourselves because we have nothing else to.
There's nothing to separate.
Fall back on. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at a lot of our guys now, they retire and they go into depressions and they have issues because they built their whole life in the fire service and they haven't been able to.
Yeah. You get away from that. And that's, you know, that's all, like all of my friends are firefighters. All my friends are firefighters.
Yeah,
it doesn't, you know, and I'm fortunate growing up in it, you know, like in the sense of I have friends that work for Moncton. I have friends that work there in Fredericton. You know, I have outside friends from our fire department. But at the end of the day, they're still firefighters. So when we get together, all we talk about is firefighting, and you know what I mean. And the poor wives are sitting there going, "Oh yeah, there you go again, the stupid hose again." You know, like they don't care.
They
like
don't care.
You know, like they love what we do, and they all do. Like they think it's whatever, but they probably get tired of listening to this after a while. But it's but you're right. It becomes our whole identity. It's what we do, and I think it's incredible in a way because we're so proud of it. Mm-hmm. We care so much about what we do, and even myself, like I have a hard time socializing with not firefighters.
Oh, I know. It's just,
what are we going to talk about?
I don't.
You know what I mean?
You don't. Usually I find normal people. I guess I call them normal people.
Yeah.
That hasn't. I guess people that haven't been through very traumatic things. To me, I see them that they don't really know themselves.
Right.
Because they haven't been in those situations too.
No, that's true.
And I know myself because I've been in those stressful situations.
Yeah.
I've been, you know what I mean? I've been close to those, you know, death and all this stuff. And, and sometimes it does get hard to kind of, what's the right word? Intermingle with them. Like maybe just understand them because I'm not that we're just two different worlds, two different lives.
Two different worlds. Yeah.
And it can be frustrating because sometimes I want those deeper connections with people, but
absolutely. But it's hard when you don't feel like you can be yourself.
Yeah.
Like
you can't talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
When I talk to you, I feel like I can be myself.
Yeah.
I don't have to hide who I am.
Like,
you know, I can make a very dark humor joke about something I seen
I get it.
You know what I mean? Like, and we're both going to laugh about that because it's funny. But, you know, you make that same joke to some poor person that, you know, and they're just
like, you have a dick growing out of your forehead.
Yeah. You should probably talk to somebody.
There's something wrong with you. I understand that.
There is something wrong. You're right. Yeah. But yeah, you know, it certainly affects that side of it for sure. It does. And you know, like the anxiety part of it, like back a little bit to that part is, you know, we were talking about the depression side of the anxiety thing was sort of the same thing for me. You know, I always said, and this wasn't so much as, it's not that I found that it would have a negative connotation. More so what I found with anxiety is I didn't want to say that I have anxiety because when I look at somebody with anxiety, they have they have an actual, that's a health problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a relatively significant thing that has to be dealt with. You know what I mean? I don't want to claim to have something that I don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
But so I don't have panic attacks. I don't, I don't, whatever. But what I'm coming to realize now, and this is more of one of my more recent revelations that I've had with my own struggles, what I mean, or my own, whatever. And I, it's anxiety is something that I've always dealt with.
Yeah, and then maybe you're not really recognizing that you had it.
Had no idea.
It just kind of became like a norm in your life.
Yeah,
because it's just been there all the time.
Right. I don't have anxiety. I'm just preparing for conversations just in case they happen.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like always like that. I was always like that. And again, we keep bringing up the meds. Like the meds have changed my life.
It changed
I don't
my life.
do that anymore. It's
unbelievable how much it changed. If I wasn't on meds, I probably wouldn't be doing this stuff.
Right now. No.
My brain couldn't be able to do this.
No, me neither.
I wouldn't be able to put all this together.
God, it's like I couldn't make it here. I'd be in friggin' somewhere. Testing hose. I'd be gone. I wouldn't even be in the province. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of what my next question was about, being diagnosed and how much those pills have helped you and changed your life.
It's crazy. Like I wasn't sure. It was an interesting. So we kind of talked about how I got diagnosed and whatever.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting process. It's not like I went in and sat down, talked to a doctor or whatever. It was an online, very impersonal thing. Like, but
you know yourself.
I know myself. Yeah. Had a good back and forth with this. The NP that helped me and stuff, and it was a good conversation. She taught me a lot too in the starting of it. But man, I was nervous, and I told her. I remember telling her. I said, I don't want to get on a medication
that's going to affect my life.
It's going to affect my life.
Yeah.
I love my job and I'm good at my job. I'm terrified that it's going to change how I do my job. Then, we talk about the
change
chaos.
Your personality or
right?
change, having that feel of comfort for chaos.
Right. And my brain processes things so fast, man, which is why like home conversations are hard and inside of burning buildings are not, because my brain's keeping up with that.
It's able to see the chaos happening as it goes.
Yeah.
And now I completely get that.
Oh, you know what I mean? Like you start identifying shit. You're just like, okay, I gotta, and you know what to do because it's not because I'm smart. It's muscle memory, right? As like I said, I've trained.
I wouldn't say that.
No, it's muscle memory. Like I've trained my whole life. You know what I mean? Like I don't know anything else.
Yeah.
If tomorrow somebody said to me like, you can't be a firefighter anymore, I'd be toast. You know what I mean?
There's
nothing I could do. I have no other life skills.
Yeah.
But like it's pure muscle memory. It's like you start picking stuff out. You go home and have those hard conversations. But it's like, I don't know. It's just like,
it's almost like even with me, before I had the pills, my brain would move faster than my mouth would be able to keep up with it, especially being tongue tied, right? So I feel like my brain's just 100 miles a minute, and sometimes I can just be jumping, and sometimes a lot of people have a hard time keeping up with you. Sometimes when you're
definitely. Start here in this. You're starting with this part of the conversation with them,
and then you're over here, and
you take a hard left. You know what I mean? They're not keeping up. They're like, "What the hell just happened?
What is he talking about? He must be stupid."
Yeah. But they didn't see the 7 lane changes that happened.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah.
But the pills have been. Oh man, they've been. I can't even explain it. It's such a game changer. And the funny thing is, the first time I kind of realized that. Or first time I probably recognized I should have been on pills. Yeah. So I was doing jiu-jitsu out here.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's this, I don't want to say the guy's name, but anyways, I was going with this, we're wrestling with him. He's kind of a newer guy, and I had a background in wrestling, and he's just like, man, like, how are you able? He's like, man, I grew up, I thought I was such a good fighter, and then you come in here and just destroy me. And I'm just like, I don't know, I've been doing it for a long time, and I think he noticed that this is the way I was talking with him, and he's like, do you take medication? And I'm just like. No. He's like, you should.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what? Like, what's that mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, kind of first time maybe I should have been on medications for a long time. And I wish I really did do it because, to be honest, I don't know if I would be a firefighter. I might have done something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm no regrets. I mean, I love what I do.
Oh, yeah, no, it's an interesting concept to think about. Like I said to you before, it's like, for me, my life has bleeded, like my ADHD and the fire service and the byproducts of both have just bled together forever. You know what I mean? So it's hard to separate. Now I'm in the process of like,
organizing that.
Right. Does this affect this, or does this affect this? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, how can I make them work better together? Whatever. You know what I mean? I'm in that.
And you think the pills have had a big role in
so
be able
much.
to recognize it?
So much. And it's like, it's, I remember the first day I took them, and just recently I was talking to somebody else that just started taking them. And it was sort of the same thing. For them, it was a different response to it. For me, it was relief. And it's like the thoughts, like we've been talking about, like, you know, there's a million things going through your brain. Mm-hmm. It was just like, boop.
Just quiet.
Oh, I can hear what you're saying.
The first time I took it.
I can hear what you're saying.
Man, I was like, is this how normal people? Whoa, no wonder. Like,
yeah, right.
I'm having issues with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's such a change, and it's just like, you know, you take those thoughts away. I can hear what you're saying. Now, for the other person that I just started taking, they're like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I don't know, you know, my emotions aren't really as much, and my feeling, or like my thoughts aren't as much. And I'm like, for me, it was a relief. Like,
it's just like peace, just a little, like my brain's not. Like I was at work the first time I took my pills.
Were you?
Oh yeah. So I got prescribed from my doctor, and anyway, so I went to work the next day. I think we're doing rope training.
Oh yeah.
So, and it was an hour long, you know, with the training department. And I'm on these pills. I'm just like, man, what is this? Like, I am so focused right now. This is ridiculous. Yeah. Like, my brain's on a million places a minute. I can actually listen to people who are saying to me. I'm not, you know, thinking about, you know, tactics in Iraq or like, you know what I mean? Like my brain's not all over the place. And then I'm sitting in this training course, and next thing I know, it's over with. And I comprehended everything he said. I understood everything. I was in the moment. I was listening to what he was saying. And I'm just like, whoa. Yeah. And then we got outside, and I had no issues. Like before, I would have been like, okay, I'm bored. Yeah. And then you go out and do the test. How do you do that? Crap. You know what I mean? Then I go out there, I'm just like, oh yeah, and blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, oh, well, this is weird. So, and then it took a lot of, even laying in the bed going to the street calls, and that took a lot of that away. Yeah. Now I'm just like, I know where that is. Yeah. No pressure. Yeah. That was one of the biggest indicators for me. Yeah. So I got on them, and what I told that MP was, you know, I don't want to be addicted to them. I want to be able to take them if I want, but if I don't want to, I don't want it to be like, you know, I don't want to be messed up if I don't take my pill. Like, I don't want to be frothing at the mouth, right? Like the addiction part of it.
Right.
Yeah, I was worried about that too.
Yeah. And she was like, no, it's not like that. You know, it's whatever.
Not at all.
No, not even a little bit. And I mean, if you're a normal person who doesn't have anything and you do that every single day, you're going to be frothing at the mouth looking for your pill. Yeah. Yeah. But the fact that we can wake up for a week straight and not take them
and not even have any issues.
No issues, no headaches, no whatever. That's tells you got ADHD. You know what I mean? That pill's doing what it's supposed to do. So, you know, like, but that, back to what I was saying, that sort of indicator for me, I was taking them, right? And I felt all the effects. It felt good. Like, I felt I felt so much relief, like, and didn't even know I needed it, right? So, you know, that carried on. So then I was like, you know, I was at work one day, and I didn't take my pill at whatever time, but I was going to take it after we checked the truck or something or whatever. And so anyway, you know, I hadn't taken it. We caught a run and we were out, whatever. And then my rule is 10 o'clock. That's my rule, 10 o'clock. That's my hard rule is 11 now. Yeah. Now, right? Yeah. I will take it up to 11, but 10 o'clock is my rule. If it's after 10 o'clock, I'm probably not going to take it, just because, like, you know, I don't want it to be keeping me up all night either. Yeah. Which it usually doesn't anyway.
No. I mean, as long as I'm not taking it like 1 or 2 or something like that, then I'm probably not going to sleep.
Yeah. So that's, you know, I kind of came to that hard rule of 11 o'clock. Yeah. But, you know, so anyway, one day I didn't take it, and I don't remember why I didn't, but it was like, you know, it was like, maybe it was like getting close, or, you know, we had been out on a couple runs that morning, came back to this, you know, whatever. Well, we got a run somewhere, and I remember getting in the truck, and literally my hands were almost shaking, because I was like, I don't know where to go. I'm all messed up. I haven't done, you know, I hadn't driven in a few shifts, and I was like, nervous. Oh yeah, like just freaking
panicking.
Right? Yeah, and probably that anxiety kicking in that I didn't, you know, never really thought that I had. I do, you know what I mean? Like, but you know, so I'm telling you, I was sitting at that call, literally almost vibrating, going, I can't wait to get back to ones.
I need that pill.
Because I'm driving that pill into me right now. Oh man.
Yeah, I hear that one.
And the rest of the day, gold. Yeah. I get in the truck and just drive, like, you know what I mean? And no problems. Like, such a difference.
Oh, it's a huge relief. It's able to just function. And then even like sometimes I'll leave home here or whatever, and and then I'll get down the road and be like, oh, I didn't take my pill.
Yeah,
I'll turn
100%.
right around.
Yeah.
Because I'm not working like that.
No, definitely not. That backpack you see me come in the house with,
Uh-huh.
that thing it has
Your pills?
all my stuff. My
Oh,
pills
yeah.
are in there. It's like my purse, but it's got, all that stuff's in there. And that's another tool that I have for overcoming some ADHD. I can literally go out of the house in my underwear and I'll have enough stuff to get me through the day with that backpack.
That's huge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm guessing this is probably obvious question. What's helped you the most? Like, they probably can guess the pill.
Yeah. The other thing I would say to that too is the pill, unquestionably, like getting on meds made such an impact in my life. But probably the biggest thing that it allowed me to do is to focus on myself and educate myself. And because, everybody says like, and it's true. And I agree with it. Like probably one of the most important things you can do is start seeing a therapist, start working on that.
Yeah.
Man, I'm an idiot and I've never done that. I should. But like the education piece to me, like,
it's cold.
Oh man, I have such a hard time. Like obviously managing time is not a strong suit for me for obvious reasons. Right. So, but it's like, I either don't have or don't want to make the time to go to a therapy session. Right. And it's like, I know I can do it online. That's where I'm going at some point. I'm going to do that. It's just, I haven't made the time to do it. But what I have done is I've spent so much time reading, educated. The ChatGPT thing I was telling you about, like if I have a weird thing going on, I'm like, is this happening? And I've asked it questions like, could this be a bleed over? Like, I was talking about it before, like one of the things that it recommended to me was like, when we get off work in the morning, like I have playlists in my Apple Music. So, it says like, when you're going to work, you can listen to your Engine 1 playlist.
Okay.
But when you're coming home, go back to your country playlist so that it's like a de-escalation.
It's calms your nervous system down.
Right.
And that's another big thing. Like, this is PTSD stuff. Yeah. The place my brain goes, your nervous system. That's I've been working a lot with that.
Huge.
And back to your point with, if you're not really understanding yourself, what's the point? Because the more that you can understand who you are, which I think every person's different, and it goes so deep. And I think these pills have really opened my eyes to that. That I'm more than I thought I am.
Right.
And, and me digging deeper into understanding myself, it's been a game changer. Because
absolutely,
I'm starting to realize I'm capable of a lot more things that I am, because I'm not so disorganized. I'm not so scatterbrained. Yeah. And I'm able to focus a bit more on maybe things that I want in my life instead of. I love the fire department. Don't get me wrong. Like I absolutely love it. Yeah. But I'm trying not to make that my whole life. If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
And I want to do. And I'm starting to like doing this stuff and writing books, and I'm learning more because I'm able to sit down and try to understand myself better. Right. So and I'm big on that, and I think every person should be.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest things, even before I get on the meds or really on the train of like ADHD, that helped me, whatever. But like, talking to some of the guys at work, they had sort of they're, from outside the city too, and sort of similar upbringings to me, what I mean? Like woodsy guys, whatever. And, so talking to them, they were reading this book, and this guy, I actually think he was ex-military from the U.S. Okay. And it was all about kind of how, a lot of the things that he was doing. And, he talked a lot about grounding and stuff. I'm not a big reader anymore. I have a hard time reading books, but I read this book. Okay. It was a good book. But the premise of it was that, when you're trying to ground yourself, one of the biggest things we can do for ourselves is go back to our roots. Okay. Go to the camp.
Yeah. Go back to nature. Go back to where we came. Yeah.
Right. Go hunting. Yeah. Go get your meal. Yeah. Don't go to the grocery store. Yeah. Go find your own meal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? You know what I mean? Like that's and when I was reading through some of the stuff, I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then I thought, like, that's something I've been doing all my life, but I've hugely neglected because I've been trying to be a great fire instructor, and I've been trying to be a great firefighter, and whatever,
husband,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have all these things going on. And what I realized after that, and even before I got on the meds, this hugely helped me. It was like, I need to do that more often. That's where I came from. That was one of the things that I loved the most.
You got to take care of yourself. Yeah. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't be there for other people.
Absolutely not. Yeah. You got to. Yeah. You got to. And I think that having had that all my life, going hunting all my life, and going camping and going fishing and all that stuff, I think that's kept me really grounded in my life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think that's really helped me with dealing with some of the trauma and dealing with, you know what I mean? I have a very, like a very roots look at life sometimes. And I think that helps a lot.
Yeah. And I 100% agree with you on that we have to get back to, who we are as a human being, and you got to pay attention to that side of yourself. And you have to love yourself, because if you're not, you're not going to be good. You're not going to be a good firefighter. You're not going to be a good husband. You're not going to be.
And to what you were saying before, to your point, like I think it helped me with my confidence too, right? Like you go live in the woods for a week, man. You're on your own.
You're getting fresh air.
There ain't
vitamin D.
You're getting all, you know what I mean? You're getting such a great experience, but you ain't texting nobody. You ain't calling nobody. Like, man, if you fall down and break your leg, go find yourself a limb, because you're going to have to wrap yourself up and drag yourself.
You got to split this thing up and walk out.
You're on your own. You know what I mean? Like, so, and I think there's something to that. And I think that we have skills. We're very fortunate to have, or unfortunate, depending on how you look at it. But, we have acquired skills over the years that allow us to probably be better at living like that.
Yeah, more confident. I think we have a very unique understanding of how short things can be, because you see, and we've been on some pretty messed up calls together.
Absolutely.
So and I think you kind of get a real appreciation for how finite and how short life can really be, and
how ridiculous things can be sometimes.
And and sometimes people get on some things they're just like, like, what is that really what? Is that really what you want to like argue with about, talk about? Like, there's so many other. Like, go live your life. I'm
telling you, man. There's so many things now. I just drop it.
Yeah,
I just let it go.
It's not worth it.
I'm not going to bother. I'm not even going to engage.
Yeah.
If you want to be, if that's what you're going to be upset about, I just drop it completely. You know what I mean? It's not worth arguing about. It's not worth getting involved. But just let it go. Like, it's not.
No. Yeah, so I guess we kind of. So how does the ADHD, stress and anxiety? We kind of went into that. No, already did all that. What would you tell younger firefighters who have ADHD?
So I would say, and it's one of those things now. Like I actively try to be, as much of a mentor as I can be. You know what I mean? Like, and I would never want to make anybody uncomfortable.
Okay.
Either. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but I've certainly had the privilege, I'll say, to work with some very incredibly talented new firefighters that we've hired on board.
Some of the crazy, this new generation is on top of it.
Unbelievable.
Like, I know a lot of people get this new generation problems and say I don't see that. I see them they're very knowledgeable. I don't know if it's because they have the access to internet or whatever, but they know a lot.
So much. And it's like, I get it. Like, you're going to get your bad apples. We got a few bad ones here and there. That's going to happen. But majority, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And
they're passionate.
So passionate. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, I know some guys, like, when I come on, volunteering was taboo. That wasn't allowed. Like, not that it wasn't allowed. It's just like there was a lot of guys that didn't like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's cool, man. Like, I've worked on entire crews where every one of us were going home the next day, probably volunteering somewhere. Or like, we're having conversations about fires we were at while we were volunteering. It's like, it's kind of fun, right? Yeah. Like, even in the short time that I've been here 8 years. Yeah. And like, you see that change in that short of time. It's like, it's kind of cool, like, just to sit there and, it's whatever. So, but all that said, like I said, I've had the privilege to work with these guys. I really, really enjoy working with them because they motivate me too.
Yeah, they do. Oh yeah, 100%.
And so because of that, I've built some pretty good relationships with some of them. And I've actually said to some of them, like, listen, the fact that you're this passionate, that you care this much, that you are able and willing to put this much time and effort into it, and that you're this interested in this job, keyword right there, that big interest, combined with maybe some other things that you've told me about or whatever, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Listen, if I could go back, I absolutely would love to have been medicated right at the gate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that, like, we've talked about already, it's like that medication took away a lot of stuff, but it really didn't take away anything that I needed.
Yeah.
And like when shit's hitting the fan,
I'm still the same.
Man,
I'll still be able to. I'm just better at it.
100%. Yeah. Instead of the filing cabinet opening itself and ejecting a goddamn file at you, you open the filing cabinet, reach in, remember where you put it, shut it, and you go, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. No, like, you're so much more methodical, so much more thoughtful. Things make so much more sense. So I would definitely say go back. Like, definitely get yourself tested. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's something else.
It could be. Yeah.
And if it is,
it could be a lot of different things. Yeah.
Whatever that is. So, like, and maybe it's nothing. Maybe you're just naturally a good fit. Maybe you're just naturally inclined for it, and I could be totally off basis. That's but like I think that it's well worth being tested for. I think it's well worth being medicated for, and most importantly, in what's helped probably me the most, combined with the meds, is the education piece.
Yeah.
You have to understand
yourself.
You have to understand what's affecting what is ADHD and what is it doing to me, and why is it different than that person?
Yeah.
Because they don't understand.
No.
You know,
that person that doesn't have ADHD is not gonna.
No.
They see in some way, and they split judgments on you because you're doing these things.
Yeah.
But they're not really understanding that
Right.
it's dysfunction of the brain.
Right.
Like it's frustrating. But
it is. So and the other thing I think that people don't realize is how frustrated you get it yourself. Right. Like rejection sensitivity dysphoria, I think it's called.
Yes.
That's a term I'd never even heard until you started going down, and I was like, like this doesn't really make sense. Even when you hear it, you're like, well, if somebody says no to me, I'm not gonna be, whatever. Like that's fine. But it's the little things that you don't realize that that's where it actually affects you, right? Where it's like, I don't know.
Do this? Did I say that?
Yeah. And it's
this guy like me.
You start obsessing about it, and it's like, or like stupid little stuff like, I wanted to do this thing, and we planned to do this thing, but now we're not going to do this thing because this other thing came up, and I'm just like, I'm super hurt about that, man. Like that crushes me.
Yeah, it crushes your soul, and it shouldn't be that way.
It's so stupid, right?
Know,
like it's such a stupid thing to be upset about, and like I don't know, it's just like you hide it because it's stupid, but at the same time, it's a valid feeling. Like you feel like, you know what I mean? I read a thing.
You feel
hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read a thing one time that said like, if you can imagine heartbreak, like, if somebody crushed, like you had a true heartbreak, that's what it feels like. It's like a crushing physical symptom.
And I wonder if a lot of that's because of people growing up, always being on you, what we kind of talked about earlier. Like
probably, yeah.
Maybe because it's, you sit down, be quiet, stop doing this, doing this. Dude, why are you so hyper? Why are you doing this? You talk so much. You're like, and
you're probably right, yeah.
And maybe that's bleeds over to when we get older, like we overthink things because everybody's always telling us that we're this and that,
right.
and which isn't true. It's just...
That's true. That's a good thought.
Yeah.
It's a good, and that very well could be, that kind of makes sense. And then like, you think about the anxiety piece with it too, like a lot of that could have been, you know what I mean? Like it all festers together anyway. And when they all start firing off, it's interesting. You know what I mean? Like you start seeing.
What do you think, the average person, what do you think their misconception is about ADHD?
That's an interesting question. Cause like I think about it from like when I was a kid, you know what I mean? Like you think about the kids in the class that had ADHD, right? They were the hyper lunatics running around, causing problems. You know what I mean? They
Chaos.
were like, yeah. And it's like, that's kind of, you think about that. And then, but like, I think that a known misconception is that adults don't have ADHD, which they do. Like, like what you said.
I see it in the fire service all the time.
Right. That hyperness dies. We know that. And that's sort of like been scientifically researched and whatever. And it's like that hyperactivity part dies off. And something else takes over, and that's where you start seeing depression and anxiety and all that stuff, and it's like so it changes over. So I think that misconception is that maybe that it goes away and it
gets
doesn't.
better.
It doesn't. If anything, it probably gets worse.
Yeah,
right. Like because it's not as seen, and as men, we look at we're talking about ADHD, but there's so many things. We talked about ADHD and the fire service bleeding in, then take PTSD and throw that in. Then let's take societal expectations. Let's bleed that in there.
Lack of sleep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So like, you just throw shift work, like you say, lack of sleep, and you throw all the other things that affect us on a day-to-day basis. And it's crazy. You start looking at it like, but it's I think it's important for anybody who doesn't have it to understand that it's, one of the biggest things that always worries me is I don't ever want anybody to think that I'm using it as an excuse.
Oh, 100%.
Man, that worries me. That's one of the things that gives me anxiety big time. And it frustrates me with myself so much because I just think man, just get the fuck over this. Like it's not that big of a deal.
Like, I kind of look now. I look at it as a superpower.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Like I'm just like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like I think it's and like you said, it's people look at it with a negative connotation. I'm like I think it's a superpower.
Oh yeah.
And when you start to realize what it is and take advantage of that, right? You start. It's like, you've kind of unlocked potential in your brain that, you can reach.
I feel like, and that's what the pill, like, really, I feel like it it's opening up my brain to be able to function how it's supposed to. And I'm really starting to notice a lot of things that I didn't believe I was. Because even growing up, having the learning disabilities, people would call me stupid and they would make these judgments about me. And then I go see the psychiatrist and they're telling me I've got a high Q of 130. I'm just like, yeah, bullshit. You know what I mean? You're lying to me. That's not true.
Right.
I'm struggling reading because I can't think the words are moving on me. I can't sit still. I'm tongue tied. And, you know what I mean? I don't talk that much because I'm scared to, because I'm actually getting that done again.
Yeah. Oh, are you? Yeah. Interesting.
So I was very tongue tied and I stumbled over my words and couldn't conform complete sentences because my brain's all over the place. And then people get these snap judgments of you and then they think you're this thing and then just like, well maybe I am. And then you start believing it. But now I'm taking these pills and I'm starting to really unlock a lot of my brain, and I'm just like, okay, maybe I am a little more than what I thought I was. So
you know what I think is kind of interesting about it is, so like the pill is designed to put our brain on a normal wavelength. You know what I mean? Make it function normal.
Yeah.
But we can still access the non-normal parts, and I like that.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
do
I mean?
too.
That's where I think and because now my brain operates normal. And I'm educating. I can think outside the box. I know how ADHD affects me, so I can, you can take advantage of a lot of things.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. And I think a lot of people that that don't have it have this misconception about people that have it that that's not true.
I agree.
I think people with ADHD I think there are a lot of them are a different wavelength than the average person, and they're able to think outside the box and solve problems that most people can't because of that whole pattern recognition thing.
Absolutely. So. Man, I tell you a funny story. So when I got diagnosed, I don't know if I've ever really told anybody this. So when I got diagnosed, I was going down through, and then I did the I have what do you call it, like Canada Disability or whatever.
Yeah.
So when I was doing those two things, I was going through these questionnaires.
Yeah.
And the whole time, you go through whatever, and it's like I'm being honest with it, and then it comes to how does it affect your work?
Oh yeah.
Man, I'm talking to the government of Canada.
Yeah.
I'm terrified about this. Terrified. I'm 30 years old, and I'm terrified that the government's going to reach out to my employer and be like,
"Is this true?"
Or like you have an employee that has a disability. You know what I mean? And then there's going to be repercussions at work.
Yeah.
And that's my anxiety kicking in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but like, what a stupid thought that was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even make sense. And then when I look back at it now, I wasn't completely honest on either one of those things. I wasn't completely honest about my...
Oh, because you didn't want to share the...
Right?
Ah.
And you know what's even crazier about that, man?
What?
They still diagnosed me with ADHD and told me I have a disability from the government. That's crazy. I wasn't even honest with them completely. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's awesome.
That's wild.
That says a lot, yeah. So.
Yeah.
So I recently just did that myself, too. I filed for that disability myself.
Did you?
So,
yeah. It's a process, but...
I'm doing it for my son, too.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense to do it, like, and now that, like, a few years later, like, I look back at it now, I'm like, I know that was crazy to be scared about that, but because of that negative connotation that's stuck with it and whatever, I was legitimately concerned that it was going to affect my employment. Yeah. And like, obviously it doesn't. It didn't. No. It's one of those things, like we've been saying, it actually is
it is a disability.
A resource. It is a disability.
I mean, if you look at a lot of people that have this, they get into a lot of addictions. And they fall to using drugs.
Right.
And to get that dopamine up and even spending money. Like a lot of them spend money going to huge debt because they don't know how to cope with these things.
Right.
Deal with them. You know what I mean?
Now, we've been talking a lot about bleeding. Let's, and you and I have had this conversation before, but bleed that back in, bleed that part back in. Impulsiveness. Yeah. Now, I was fortunate. I have my impulsivity.
Yeah.
But I've always had my outlet. Yeah. Right?
Yes, always.
Not everybody
cope with it.
Right?
Yeah.
Not everybody has that. Yeah. So let's bleed that into it. Mm-hmm. Right? Now what? Now we've got a firefighter who has ADHD with 10 years of experience. Mm-hmm. The calls aren't exciting anymore.
Nope. Maybe dealing with PTSD.
Probably have PTSD from some of the shit that they've seen. All the stuff that they don't know they have and don't know how to cope with, plus impulsivity. Yeah. Right? So maybe
they're in debt.
Right?
Maybe they're using drugs, alcohol.
Are they gambling? Like, You know, like whatever they can, you know, we talk about dopamine. Like, are they trying to get that dopamine from that? Are they trying to cope from that? What the hell are they trying to cope with anymore? Are they coping with PTSD? Are they coping with a lack of sleep from the job? Are they coping with, and the same could be said about military, right? About the service. Like,
I see a lot of people that serve in the military that I believe have ADHD too.
Right. I think that we all have an attraction to those types of jobs anyway.
Yeah.
None of us want to sit around in an office.
No,
that's not.
No, it's not how my brain works.
No, not a bit. Not a bit. I just don't think we would thrive that way.
No.
You know what I mean? So I think that there's probably a very big majority of us that don't realize that we're either touched by it or have it hardcore. You know what I mean? Like,
and that goes with a lot of mental health thing. And I wonder how much, like, you know, even these professions that we do, like the suicide rates, I wonder if that has.
Yeah. And it would be interesting to know the numbers. Like, when you look at it, the suicide rate for ADHD is above the average person who has no mental health problems or whatever, you know, however you want to frame that. And then when you look at us as in the service.
Yeah, our service, I don't know the top numbers top of my head on what our suicide rate is, and I'm pretty sure, I think it's pretty high too.
It's certainly higher than the average. Same with the service, right?
Same with military guys, That's an interesting thought. It would be something to
imagine. You know, we talk about, like, I honestly believe ultimately we look at the breakdown, look at the opioid crisis right now.
Yeah, the fentanyl is ridiculous.
I can't imagine a single person in the world who wakes up in the morning and says, listen, I'm done living this life. I don't want to live in this beautiful home anymore. I'm going to go get whacked on Waterloo Street for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and that's how I'm going to live.
Look at my shoes for days at a time.
Fold
right? Nobody says that.
No.
They have mental health problems that they don't know how to deal with, and they have never been dealt with, and we don't have the resources to deal with them.
No.
Right?
No.
Even if you look at, you know, let's go to a different extreme. Look at us, right? Like, you know, we were diagnosed with ADHD. Well, okay. Well, you start combining that with some of the things that we've been talking about, PTSD, the job that we do, the past jobs that we've had, the things we do in our off time, right? There should be services available to us.
100%.
Unquestionably. We're just lucky we didn't ever end up on Waterloo Street.
Yeah, and it easily could have, because, like, even with me, like, I like drinking.
Yeah.
I had to give it up because I noticed about myself that I have a very addictive personality. Because I chase dopamine, and it probably falls back to the ADHD thing.
Yep.
And why I don't really dabble in drugs is because I know I'll probably like them.
Yes. Yeah.
and
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
And then I've done, you know, I was hard on the cannabis for a long time, but I kind of had to get off that because it was just sparking anxiety more than it was actually helping anything. So, but I like doing that. And the whole drug thing, if I probably would have liked that too. And I probably would have got addicted to it. So it could easily, people that have these, you know, ADHD could end up on the street with addictions.
Man, it's crazy when you think about it, that any of those people easily could have been us, and we could have been any of those people.
Yeah, it just takes one bad hit, one dose.
And did it all start with ADHD? Did it all start with anxiety? Did it all start with depression? It all started somewhere.
Yeah, I'd be curious to...
Right? It sure shit didn't start with them waking up going, I think I'm
going to do drugs.
Yeah, I'm going to do drugs now. Like, that's not the case. And there's, like I said, there's no services. We need like a... You know, I know they took Centricare however long ago, but like...
That's so bad.
And you know, like, it was what it was, and it shouldn't be that, but we need something.
Yeah,
we need something back, and there needs to be something to take care of those people. There should be sort of outreach, outpatient services, I'll say.
It's so sad to see. It's almost like a demon that gets a hold of them. You know what I mean? Like, just this thing that just, they can't get away from them, and it's just ripping them down. And it's just, it's sad to see.
It is.
It's sad to see.
And you know, we talked about society before. Yeah. Look at how society treats those people.
Yeah, like they're outcasts. And
right? And like, you know, we talk about like compassion, fatigue at work and stuff, and whatever. Like, I
get it.
I don't get broken up about.
No, because it is their responsibility for themselves. But it would be nice to see that the government got a little more.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's a shame. It's a shame. Nobody's doing anything for
no.
It probably preventable.
Yeah. 100% it is preventable. But so yeah, if you could go back and talk to your younger self, what would you say?
Buckle up.
All right. Let's hear it.
You're in for a ride. You know what I mean? No, but really, like, there's a lot of things that I wish I would have known. You know what I mean? Even as a teenager, like a teenager growing up and stuff. Confidence in myself.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Trust yourself. That's probably one of the biggest things that I would have told myself. Like, and I've always been so quick to second guess my own judgment, you know,
And
because
it's probably better judgment than most people would have made anyway.
right. And I think that's, you know, when it comes to making judgment of anything for yourself, that you're the best at that. You know what I mean? So I would say, like, go back. I mean, if I could go back, I would say have more confidence. You know, trust yourself. Just trust yourself. Like, you know, you think you have ADHD? Yeah, because you do.
You probably do.
You know what I mean? Like, I've made so many mistakes in my life because I just didn't follow what I believed was the right thing to do or whatever.
Yeah. Follow your first gut instinct that it probably was the right one, and
Right.
then you second guess yourself, and
Yeah.
then you're making a mistake, and then you're
Yeah.
making another mistake.
Yeah.
Now I understand that.
And you know, to what we were talking about before, like, deal with it quick. Like, get the ADHD thing out of the way now, as soon as possible. Right? Find out as soon as possible. And I think that if anything, like, I have no regrets. I wouldn't change, like, you know, if I wouldn't change anything per se, like, you know, like, I'm still so fortunate for the way things turned out, and I'm so happy. You know, really, I couldn't be any luckier. I got the best job in the world. I got a beautiful house and a beautiful family and a beautiful girlfriend that, you know what I mean? She loves me and I love her to death. You know what I mean? And a beautiful son. And, like, I wouldn't change it. No. And I still get to go to the best job in the world. Get home for 3 days with them, and I go to my, you know, like, it's like having two homes, two families, right? Like, legit, I'm living the dream I always wanted. Yeah. So I wouldn't change anything, but, like, you know, if I could give myself some advice, I would say trust yourself, like, have some confidence and trust yourself. And you know what? Like, the ADHD thing, I think I probably would tell myself, deal with it now.
Deal with it now.
Don't be scared of it.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of it.
It's going to change your life. It's going to make things easier, and you're probably going to thrive from doing this stuff.
Everything we do, and, like, this is, like, a big thing for me, like, you know, anytime I've ever gone on the road, you know, and had the opportunity to go out and say what I have to say about firefighting, teach and mentor and do whatever, it's all about aggression.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all about being aggressive. Mm-hmm. I don't care if the house is on the ground. I'm going to be on top of it, putting the fire out, because I'm going to be aggressive. You know what I mean? We have to have that aggressive mindset. Yeah. In the military, you know, you talk about tactics and stuff. It's very often the aggressive tactic is the winning tactic. You know what I mean?
You got to be aggressive and get in your face.
Right? Overwhelm, overpower, right? And then, you know, we were talking about, like, the first special service force, and talking with my grandfather. Their thing was, like, just exactly that. Absolute silence, absolute stealth. Once you find the enemy, it's absolute overwhelming power to completely confuse and throw them off, and then get the hell out of there. Like,
yes. That's what's it's interesting, because just kind of a train of thought. I'm sorry to
no, it's all good. All good.
So, like, when you get in a closed ambush, so let's say the enemy are close and you get ambushed, the first thing they teach you is to assault them. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So you're getting ambushed. Yeah. Start coming at them. Right. Start throwing suppressive. Yeah. Start doing your buddy bounds at the enemy and get close and kill the enemy. Right. That's the whole tactic. Yeah. It makes sense. The whole aggressive side of things. Right. Yeah.
Everything's about aggression. You know what I mean? And I remember, like, growing up, you watch, like, Band of Brothers, and I loved all those series, like the Pacific and whatever. Yeah. But the message is always the same. The American military has always been that way. And, you know, I can speak to, like, the shows that I've seen and whatever. You know, you listen to, like, man, I love listening to, like, Dick Winters and those guys, like, on those shows, like, give that history. It's so, but the American history is so well documented. Yeah, you know what I mean? It is, yeah. So, like, I know that, like, that was huge for them, like, all about being aggressive, right? Yeah. That's something I would tell myself. Have that mindset. Always have that mindset. It's same with ADHD. Don't be scared of it. Oh. Grab that bitch by the horns and twist it over and figure it out. Because, like, that's the only way to approach anything. Yeah. You have to take the bull by the horns and just go with it. You can't just sit there and die. No. You gotta get up, you gotta move, and that's a very good point. You have to be aggressive with yourself. Yeah. That's an awesome point. Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be the biggest point I would make is, you know, overall, anything with life. You know what I mean? Like, you really got to do that. You got to be aggressive with yourself. You got to keep growing. You got to keep learning. Yeah. You got to go after things. Yeah. You got to chase your dreams, because life's short. And yeah. That's awesome. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. We only got so much time. We got to make the most of it. That's right. Yeah. Oh, do you have any closing statements or anything you want to? No. I just really want to thank you for having me, man. Like, this is I was really looking forward to this, and I
a bit
always
nervous.
enjoy. Yeah. And it's like we said before, like I think the nerves are not a bad thing. Like keeps us sharp and stuff. And I know we bounce around a lot, and I think that's a good thing too. Like
I hope people can keep up with us.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna laugh at ourselves when we come back. And
no, actually, to be honest, I think this went really smooth. And
yeah, absolutely. And hey, if you can keep up with us, you should probably go get checked.
Probably 100%. All right, man.
All right. Well, thanks again.
That was Brandon Luke. Thank you.